to the next.
We'll figure this out. Okay. Thank you for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I am here. For some reason, Teams is telling me my camera is like not allowed to be on. I don't know if it's an issue with my laptop, but I'm here. Just off camera, I guess.
No worries. Want to give folks like one more minute or so, and then we can get started. It looks like we have a number of people, which is good.
Jessica, go ahead and try. I made you an attendee. For some reason, it didn't have you as one. Try now.
It's like it's not even showing up as an option, which makes me think it's my laptop. I can maybe if I try leaving and coming back in.
Yeah.
I could try that.
Yeah, okay, yeah, because I'm clicking on your three little dots and I have the option to change disable camera. Okay, well, she's gone anyways. All right.
All right. We'll give Jessica just a moment to come back and then we'll go ahead and get started. Dean, are you doing the updates or is Jessica doing the updates?
I am. Yeah, I was going to give the update, I believe.
Well, let me know what you need. Yeah, I think it's my laptop. It's saying no camera is connected, so I'm not sure what's up with that.
All right, we'll go ahead and get started. And Jessica, it's okay that you're not on camera. Understood. Hello. Thank you so much for coming to our now quarterly Outcomes Committee meeting. In this meeting, we'll go through the work that the two subcommittees have been doing, give you all updates, let you ask any questions that you have. If at any time you want to become part of the Standards and Performance Subcommittee, you are absolutely welcome to do that. Right now, the other subcommittee is not open for other attendees. It's specific people. And they're working really closely with, well, I'll let Dean kind of go through that part. We don't have any minutes from our last meeting because we haven't had a meeting in about 5 months when we decided, well, actually since the beginning of the year, when we decided to change over to quarterly. So we had a meeting in January, but we haven't had a meeting since then. I will give the updates for the Standards and Performance Subcommittee, and I'll do that first, and then I will hand it over to Dean. I think there'll probably be more questions from that committee prior, so we'll take that one last to make sure there's enough time to answer any questions that you have. Any questions before I get started? All right, so what we've been doing the last 3 months with the Standards and Performance Subcommittee is really working closely with Dean to figure out what our focus needs to be versus what should be handed off to another committee. And so one of the things that we came out with is that focus is to ensure data quality and supporting compliance through education and resource allocation. Particularly collaborating with ICA. So ICA has been attending, has started attending our Standards and Performance Subcommittee meetings, and they gave a presentation in our last meeting, which was at the beginning of this month, on where we stand currently, what that data looks like. I am still waiting to get the PowerPoint back from Patrick at ICA. But once I do get that, I will make sure that goes out to not just the subcommittee members, but also to the full committee at large, so that you're able to see what we received and what was discussed in that meeting. And then if there are any questions, you can always pose those back and we can bring those to ICA for a presentation in this meeting. Some of the core responsibilities that we talked about was defining deliverables related to data quality and compliance and system-wide improvement, and then also how to integrate the hub coordinators into the subcommittee work, particularly around data quality efforts and facilitating communication between the providers and the subcommittee, so that they're not hearing from us and, you know, the hub coordinators who are also working on data quality, but how do we ensure that that is seamless between us and the hub coordinators, and the hub coordinators is able to get that out. The other prioritization was PIT planning and coordination and what those activities need to look like. We looked at that as a formation and structure of work groups within the subcommittee. So going forward, our subcommittee starting in July will split up into the committee that is working on the data portion, the data compliance and system-wide improvements, and how do we want to, you know, educate providers? How do we identify what those, you know, what the needs are among providers? And then how do we get that education out there utilizing ICA's vast information that they have for us, but also anything that we think needs to be added to that. And then also starting ahead with PIT. We found that starting in previous years, the sooner we start, the better outcome we get. The more providers, not providers, but the more we have volunteers. One of the goals is to initiate provider support. I cannot speak for every hub. Some hubs do have provider support during the PIT count, but my hub had one provider who was working with the hub. So that's something we want to address this year as well, amongst other things. But that's kind of where we are, where we've figured out our structure, what we need to be focused on, and then the steps that we want to start taking to move forward before we even get to a work plan. So are there any questions for me? Any concerns or thoughts? Yes, Joe.
When you said that only one agency in Hub 2 helped with the PIT, are you speaking specifically to the unsheltered count?
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, it was one provider from one agency that participated.
Okay, thank you.
So no problem. So I'm sorry, I should have clarified. That is only on the unsheltered count, not the sheltered count. And I guess I should say that it was actually two agencies, because the city of Portland was a huge support for us. All right. Any other questions? I didn't think there would be, but all right, I'm going to hand it over to Dean.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good to see at least some of you on cameras. I did want to provide an update of our new systems performance subcommittee. Jessica's also on the call, and welcome anything that I might be missing or have missed, Jessica, as I'm sort of rolling through. But I think we've approached this subcommittee a little bit differently than what we have other committees, in that this was the first time that we as a COC has ever looked at system performance measures in sort of a meaningful way. So anyone who's been attending our committee meetings, many people have been working for the COC for 10 or 15 years, has sort of been commenting on the fact that this was the first time when really we've started to sort of pull back our system performance measures and looking at our data through the lens of how is it going to improve the homeless performance, the homeless system, homeless response system, and the COC, and what are some of the ways that we can sort of make an impact, both on the short term and the long term? So we have, we've met 4 times, but we really have started off sort of in a purposeful way, really looking at what would be a really good starting point, because we've never had this type of discussion before. And so for that reason, I decided that it would be more helpful to have a select group of people really helping to launch this subcommittee with a specific direction. And so one of the key directions has really been, how are we going to look at our system performance measures in light of our COC? For those of you who are not aware, we do get scored on our system performance measures. They're key to our overall success. We get points, which means that it really does impact our overall ability to pull money into the system. So we have our two COC NOFA chairs in addition to Jessica and myself. And then we have had four different ICA staff, including Patrick, Casper, Jeff, and a few others who have been contributing to help shape an understanding of really what's our starting point in a variety of measures and in a variety of ways. We also have Vicki Merrill, who's a long time COC member, who is very focused on data, who also has been sort of asked to participate. So over those first 4 meetings, we've discussed the formation of the committee and what that might look like, but we also looked at the HUD system performance measures. What are they? And what's included in them. And then we have been looking at each of them, really determining where do we stand? What does our data show? So in the short term for our COC application, there's not that much that can be done for changing things in a huge way for this coming application, but we're looking for what those might be. But really, it's a foundational effort to also look at what are the steps we need to take to do things differently that will really make meaningful change in our system. So we're getting guidance from ICA, not only in terms of what our data is showing, but also what are the things that we need to sort of start considering doing that will make a difference. Quite a bit of that effort will be in the bailiwick of this subcommittee, which relates to data quality and the reliance on data quality. And so you can't look at system performance measures without understanding how you can improve the data that you're looking at to allow for people to be more confident and for it to be more actionable review and use rather than just reviewing it, which in the past our COC has been challenged just to even review, but there's more to the review. It's really about how we can change things that we're currently doing and improving things, knowing where our strengths and weaknesses are. So our HUD system performance measures, we've been going through each of those, really looking at what those might mean and different aspects of that. We've been looking at how does that apply to the COC current application and future application. We've been looking at what the low-hanging fruit is within our review to start looking at what might be some short-term changes or short-term actions that might be able to help us to sort of improve things. How can we incentivize people to provide more quality data, for example? What would that look like? What is the type of support through ICA, Jeff, and others that can allow for people to better understand what they're doing, get the resources that they need, add in data more consistently, make sure that it's quality data, and that we understand what where the gaps and where the challenges might be. Finally, we've been, and again, it's only been 4 meetings, but we have been starting to look also at the regional comparisons. We need to, and Jessica has been great about raising this, really looking at not only what we're doing, but how can we benchmark and better understand how we're doing compared to other states, statewide COCs, and other communities with, similar size, and that we can better understand what our strengths really are, not only to improve things in general, but also from a competitive standpoint for COC scores, for again, being more competitive through our overall application. So having this commitment on a monthly basis seems and feels huge for our COC. As time goes on, we're going to have more to report and more specifics about what direction we might be recommending, not only to the general COC, but education and direction that we might be recommending to the board through Jessica and others. Jessica, did I leave anything out, or?
No, that was fabulous. The only thing I would say, just like at the highest level, is talking about how we can improve the system performance measure part of our application each year. It's a two-sided conversation. One is there's sometimes data quality issues, and if we can improve the data quality, we're going to look better. Right now, sometimes we look worse than we are because of our data quality. And so that's one side, just data quality. And then the other side is actual improvements we can make to our actual system to better serve the population we're trying to serve. And with some measures, it's more about quality, and other measures, it's more about changing the way we do things. But it's all with an eye toward bringing more money into Maine.
We also, Patrick had made reference to some of the changes, the TA support that ICA has been providing ongoing, that's going to help us in both our system performance and our just overall data performance. Jeff, could you just sort of share what that more hands-on approach that you all have been taking is? I know that it was referenced in our system performance, but you would have a better way of explaining that.
Sure. Patrick would usually be here, but he's on vacation this week. So I think you really hit all the high points right there. What a way that I like to think about it is, an individual goes to their doctor and says that they have a goal of running a marathon, which is fantastic. Like, that goal is completely achievable. And in terms of our system, we can achieve all these goals that we're thinking about. But really the first thing you have to do is you have to be able to get the system in shape, rehabilitated, make sure that the systems are in place to be able to build upon later. So that's like firmly what we're doing right now, fixing some of these key systematic issues in the HMIS that have kind of fought us along the way, and being able to have good, solid data quality. And we've come a long way over the last, well, I guess it's 6 months now since ICA has been the HMIS lead. And it's a lot of subtle changes, like implementing things like backdate mode and for users in HMIS, so to make sure that the data matches on the back end as it does on the front end, and some various things here as well. So I think the HMIS system in Maine is definitely a work in progress, but we're getting to be in a very good position to be able to capitalize on some of our strengths that we have in the system right now.
Thank you. Yeah, far more eloquent than how I would have been able to describe it. Thank you. I think that really was where this subcommittee's work is, unless Jessica has anything else to add.
Nothing at the moment.
Okay.
Are there any questions for Dean or Jessica?
I have a question, just for my reference sake. When you're talking about system performance measures, you're speaking specifically to are you speaking specifically to the HUD ones, like the increase in income and the increase to discharges to permanent housing and that stuff?
Yeah, that is, Joe, that is what I was referring to, not to say that those are the only ones that we will be getting to and focused on, but those were the ones that we've started with because of the significance as it relates to the NOFA.
And that I would add too, I think part of our discussion or our recent discussions have been a shift in the federal attitude on these measures from improvement to benchmarks, right, Dean? So
Yes, yes.
that creates a shift in strategy for all 50 states. So we're, grappling with improving our data quality and our practices while also responding to the shift in federal priorities in the NOFA.
Any other questions? Okay. We don't have anything else on our agenda, just the updates. With Patrick being out, we will have an ICA update in our next meeting, as well as the updates from the subcommittee. But if there are no other questions, we will gift you your time back for the day. If there are things that you would like either of the subcommittees to report out on, please send that over to either myself, Jessica, or Dean, and we'll make sure that we add that into the agenda. They'll, as we're just starting the subcommittees, there's not as much as there would be if we were a year into this. So if you do have any questions, please let me know. Oh, sorry, I just saw, will minutes be available for both? Yes, so I can send out, I didn't think about this until today. I'm not sure if the subcommittee, just confirming if the subcommittee meetings minutes are being posted onto the Maine Homeless Planning website, but I don't think that they are. So I will send out the standard and performance subcommittee minutes. I'm not sure if Dean, is your committee sharing minutes at this point? Or
we haven't we haven't in the past. We're certainly, okay in the future to be able to do that. We just sort of started off wanting to just really focus on making sure we're getting things up and running.
All right, so let's say for the next iteration, we keep with that. And then, so I'll send out the standards and performance subcommittee minutes. And then maybe in the next one, we can discuss if the other subcommittee is ready to start sharing. Sorry, I could not get that out for the life. All right. Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you all for your time. I will gift you back 36 minutes and we'll see you all in a couple months.
Thank you.